Hey guys, we're back with part 3 for math paper 4H from May to... Alright, so in 17 we left off. The histogram shows, there's a histogram and it shows information about heights of some plants. And the histogram has been drawn accurately, meaning the sizes of the bars and all that stuff is drawn perfectly. So you got to calculate the percentage of values that lie between 2 and 4. Now first of all, what you need to do is you gotta know that frequency density, I'll call it FD, is equal to frequency over class width. So if we multiply both sides by class width, frequency is equal to FD times class width. So that means that the number of any of plants that lie in the thing is nothing but the area, because it's nothing but the area of these bars. So the area is nothing but the frequency. So knowing that, we can say that to find the percentage of values that lie between 2 and 4, if we find the area of 2 and 4 and we compare and we divide it by the total area of this whole, all these bars, and we multiply that by 100, we'll find the percentage. So first of all, you need to measure it using a ruler, and you can take approximate measurements, like approximately this is 2, this length is 4, this length is 1, this length is 2, this length is about 2, this length is 3, and this length is 1, this length is, I think, 2, and this length is 1, and this length is 2. So the area of this is nothing but 2, because it's 1 times 2. The area of this is nothing but 8. The area of this is nothing but 6. The area of this is nothing but 2. And the area of this is nothing but 2. So the total area is 2 plus 8 plus 6, which is 10, 16, which is 20. And now the area of this block is from 2 to 4 is nothing but 2 times 4, which is 8. So 8 out of 20 times 100 will give us the percentage of values that lie between 2 and 4, and that percentage is actually 40%. Alright, so 17b is a bit more trickier. They're asking you to find the median of x. Now the median, as I've explained in many of my videos, is nothing but the middle value which of a distribution of like a certain height. In this case it's height. So like the median value is a value where it's like the middle point, okay? So like if I organize all the frequencies, like basically if I organize all the frequencies like properly, like let's say like this, the median value, numerically also, the median value would be the middle value here, 1. So like that, we'll apply it to this. So basically we know the total frequency of all these plants, and it's nothing but 20, right? So the median frequency should be the middle value, so it should be the middle frequency, so it should be 20 divided by 2. It should be the 10th frequency. So we know that this is the first and the second frequency, and this area is 8 frequencies, so that means we've reached the 10th frequency by the end of this bar. And so since we've reached the end of the frequency by the end of the bar, the value which the end of the bar is on is 4. So that makes 4 the median. It's a bit difficult to explain. It's something which you have to more like understand, and like you got to take time to think about it. So yeah, that's about it. Okay, question 18, we're given a circle of 2 chords on a circle, and we're given the specific lengths, and they're on the diagram, and they're asking you to calculate the value of x, which is this over here. Now before you start, you first of all need to know that these 2 triangles, there are 2 triangles here actually, like this is kind of like a triangle, this is another triangle, and you need to know that these 2 are similar triangles. And basically their angles are equal. If you want to look at the proof, go to another tutorial because it takes a bit of time to explain it. And what you need to know is that these 2 lines, they correspond, and these 2 lines correspond in the triangle. So basically, you have this length and you have this length. So the ratio between the larger length and the smaller length is equal to the ratio between this larger length and this smaller length. So if we put this in an equation, the ratio between, let's say, the green length, so the ratio between them, 14:4, is equal to the ratio between the red lengths. So x is to 3. And in this case, it's from, I'm comparing large to small side. Large triangle to small triangle. So basically, all we got to do is put this in algebra form. So we can say 14 over 4 is equal to x over 3. And all we got to do is solve for x, and that way we can find the value of x. So multiply 3 on both sides, and we're going to get x equal to 14 over 4 times 3. And so that is nothing but 10.5 centimeters. Alright, so the next question, 19, it says, the particle moves in a straight line through a fixed point O. The displacement of the particle is, basically the displacement of the particle from 0 times t seconds is s meters, where s is equal to t squared minus 6t plus 10. You got to find ds over dt. Now before doing this, I want you to look at this thing which I've written right over here. Basically, it's the law of differentiation. Basically, when you differentiate something, so if you have an equation y is equal to x to the power of n, and you're differentiating it, all that happens is that this n moves here, it gets multiplied by x, and n gets subtracted by 1. Okay, now the second point is when y is equal to n, so when y is equal to a constant, n can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever number only, and if you differentiate that, it becomes 0. So now knowing this, let's differentiate this equation with respect to time. So ds over dt is equal to, now this moves down, right? It gets multiplied by t, so 2t, and it gets subtracted by 1, so 2 minus 1, minus 6t to the power of 1, right? So t to the power of, so 1 moves down, it gets multiplied by negative 6, so it becomes minus 6, and t to the power of 1, it becomes t to the power of 1 minus 1, plus 10. Now 10, when you're differentiating a constant, it becomes 0, so plus 0. And this simplifies to 2t to the power of 1, so basically 2t, minus 6t to the power of 0. T to the power of 0 is nothing but 1, so minus 6 plus 0, and so that becomes 2t minus 6. So ds over dt is equal to 2t minus 6. Okay, so now something you need to know. When you differentiate displacement with respect to time, which we've done here, ds over dt, it gives you, ds over dt is nothing but the velocity. Okay? So that means in question 19b, they're asking you to find the velocity of the particle when t is equal to 5. So all you got to do is substitute t with 5, and you'll get an answer for velocity over here. So ds over dt is equal to 2 times 5 minus 6, which is equal to 10 minus 6, which is equal to 4. So velocity is equal to 4. Now when you differentiate displacement with respect to time, once you get velocity. When you do it the second time, you get acceleration. So what you got to do is you got to differentiate this equation, one more time. So then you form d squared s over dt squared, which is basically acceleration, is equal to, so differentiate this. So 2t to the power of 1, you take 2, so you get 2, and minus 6 simplifies to 0. So acceleration is nothing but 2. Because 1 gets multiplied by 2, and t to the power of 1 minus 1 is t to the power of 0, which is 1. So it becomes 2, and minus 6 is a constant, so when it gets differentiated, it becomes 0. So acceleration just becomes 2. Alright, so question 28, they're asking you to evaluate 5 into 10 to the power of 12 plus 9 into 10 to the power of 12. Now both of these numbers are in standard form. Standard form is nothing but when you have a number which just has the ones unit place multiplied by 10 to the power of something. So in this case, you have 5 into 10 to the power of 12 plus 9 into 10 to the power of 12. When you're adding two numbers in standard form, all you do is add these two numbers together, if these are the same. Since these are the same, all you need to do is add these two numbers together. So you get 14 into 10 to the power of 12. And 10 to the power of 12 remains constant. Now with standard form, you can never have, all your numbers should be in a form, let me start again. This number should be in a form where only the ones place is present. So it can't be 14, it can't be a two-digit number, it has to be a one-digit number. So to do that, you divide this by 10, so you get 1.4 into 10 to the power of 13. Since you're basically dividing this by 10, so then this number has to increase by 1 to make this number equal to this number. So yeah. Alright, so 20b is just basically using the concepts we learned and did in the previous question. So basically they say each number, p, q, and r, is greater than 1 and less than 10. So meaning it's like either 1.0, it can't be greater than 10, meaning it's in the correct way of standard form. So then they say that p into 10 to the power of 15 plus q into 10 to the power of 15 is equal to r into 10 to the power of n. Alright, and p plus q is greater than 10. First of all, let's just take this left-hand side. As we did in the previous question, since they're both 10 to the power of 15, we can just add p and q. So it becomes p plus q into 10 to the power of 15. And we have to find n, by the way, in this question. So p plus q into 10 to the power of 15. But p plus q is greater than 10 to the power of 15, is greater than 10, meaning that it's a two-digit number. So it doesn't follow the rules of standard form where you have to have only a one-digit number and your number has to be between 1 and 10. So what you need to do is you need to make this in the form of make this where it's between 1 and 10. So how do you do it? You just divide it by 10, right? So when you divide it by 10, to make this, to balance it out, this must increase by 1. Right? So that means that if you divide it by 10, so p plus q, you divide it by 10, this must increase by 1, so it becomes 16. And so that's what corresponds to n. And so p plus q can be written as r into 10 to the power of 16, because now this number is between 1 and 10, because you divided this by 10. It's all about thinking, so just think about it and think through it and work with some numbers and it'll be fine. Like work with the previous numbers, you can probably figure it out and understand it. Alright, so for 20b2, they're asking you to write an expression of r in terms of p and q. Now from the previous question, we figured out that p plus q, we just substituted, we found out the value of n over here, and now I've just put it into this equation. So now we've got p plus q into 10 to the power of 15 is equal to r times 10 to the power of 16. So all we got to do is make r the subject. So all we got to do is divide both sides by 10 to the power of 15. Divide by 10 to the power of 15. And what we're going to get is p plus q, these and these cancel, is equal to r. 10 to the power of 16 divided by 10 to the power of 15 is 10 to the power of 1. So r times 10 to the power of 1, or 10. Okay? So now we just got to make r the subject. So r is nothing but p plus q over 10, because we divided both sides by 10. So r is nothing but p plus q over 10. Alright, so 21, it's about vectors. It's my favorite and it's a fun kind of topic. So here we have a hexagon made of 6 equilateral triangles of side 2.5, and TU is equal to A, and UP, the vector UP, is B, and the vector TU is A. So vectors are something with both magnitude and direction. So direction really matters with the vectors. So this vector might not be equal to this vector. It might be equal in amount, but it's not equal in terms of direction and stuff like that. So in this case, they're asking you in A1 to find, in terms of A and B, the vectors TP, meaning getting from here to here. So how do we do that? Basically, TP is this vector. And this forms a triangle. So if you look at this, it forms a triangle. So if we add both of these vectors, it'll give us the vector of TP. So all we got to do is, in terms of A and B, TP is nothing but A plus B. Alright, so now 21A2, they're asking you to find, in terms of A or B, the vector PO. So from P to O. Okay? Now first of all, vectors have to have the same direction and magnitude. Now they'll have the same if they have the same magnitude, that means they have the same length. Now since this is an equilateral triangle, all this like there are 6 equilateral triangles, that means these sides are all equal. Every single side here is equal. Okay? So they'll have the same magnitude. So what vector could be equal to A in this case? It could be this vector, it could be and it could be this vector, right? So these two are equal to A's, because if you look at them, they have the same direction and they have the same length. So that means they have the same value for the vector. So in this case, if I want to get from P to O, all I have to do is go in the opposite direction of A. So I have to go negative A. When you go in the opposite direction of a vector, it's just minus of the vector. Alright, so 21A3. Sorry for the horrible writing. A3. Okay, so now I want to find the vector in terms of A and B of UO. So I want to get from here to here. So how do I do that? So basically, if I need to go like this, right? So now if I add this vector and I subtract A, I'll get from U to O. Because A is in this direction, but I want to go this direction. So that means all I got to do is go positive B and negative A. So it's B minus A. Alright, so 21B. They're asking you to find the modulus of the vector of UR, meaning from here to here. So modulus is nothing but the magnitude, and it's basically the amount. So direction doesn't matter at all here. Now in the question, they told us that each length in each equilateral triangle is 2.5. So that means this small length over here is 2.5, this length over here is 2.5. So all that means is that the magnitude from U to R is nothing but 2.5 plus 2.5. And that'll give you an answer of 5. Alright, so question 22. We're given a triangle, and the area of the triangle, they say, is 12 centimeters square. And they've given us two sides, 8 and 6. And they've given us an angle x. And they said the angle x is obtuse. Now the fact that they said angle x is obtuse means that the triangle cannot be right angled. Alright? So that means that we can apply this formula for area of a triangle, which is half AB sine C. Now you might be thinking, what is AB and what is sine C? Now sine C is nothing but your angle. So in this case it's x. And A and B are nothing but the sides, which are basically is nothing but like the angle is in between these two sides. That's what it is. So basically this x angle is between these two sides, A and B. Alright? So we can apply this formula to find the area of this triangle. So in this case, area is equal to half AB sine C. And C is in between A and B. So in this case, 12 centimeters square is the area, is equal to half times 6 times 8 sine x. And now we can just solve for x. So basically 12 is equal to 6 times 8 is 48. 48 divided by 2 is 24, so 24 sine x. So let me continue somewhere here. Yeah, it's a bit bunched up. Sine x is equal to 12 over 24. 24, sorry. And x is equal to, remember, sine inverse, you don't divide by sine on both sides, you do the sine inverse because it's a function. X is equal to sine inverse of 12 over 24. Put this on your calculator and you'll get x as 30 degrees. But x is an obtuse angle, so how can x be 30 degrees? So what you need to do is basically convert this 30 degrees into an obtuse angle. Now how do you do this? All you do is you take this angle, 30 degrees, and you do 180 minus 30 degrees, and you'll get 150 degrees as your angle. And it's 150 also because sine of 150, if you do it, it'll also be equal to 0.5. So that's why that relationship exists. So yeah. Alright, so for 23a, we're being asked to simplify this expression, x squared minus 9 over x squared plus 3x. And basically before we do this, I'm going to explain this note on the side over here, and it's going to help us solve this question. Basically what it says is a squared minus b squared is equal to a plus, factorizes to a plus b, a minus b. And this is going to help us solve this question. Now you're probably wondering how it's going to help us solve this question. Well, let me show you. First of all, the numerator can be written as x squared minus 9 can be written as 3 squared over, if we factorize the bottom, we're going to get x as the highest common factor, x squared divided by x is x, and 3x divided by x is 3. So we get this. Now x squared minus 3 squared, according to the note, factorizes to x plus 3 and x minus 3. And this is all over x plus 3. Now, do you see anything in common between the numerator and the denominator? It's the x plus 3. So if we divide both the numerator and the denominator by x plus 3, that means we get x minus 3 over x. So this is the simplified version. Alright, so 23b. You're basically asked to use your answer in part A to simplify f of g of x. Now in part A, we were asked to simplify this, and we got x minus 3 over x. So f of x is nothing but x minus 3 over x. Now g of x is 1 over x squared. So when you're doing a composite function, which is f of g of x, which is combining the two functions, first of all, you got to imagine that g of x is nothing but the x in f. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to take this g of x and substitute it in in x as x in f of x. Alright? So think of this as your x for f of x. Alright, so f of g of x. So first what I like to do is, I usually write down f of x. I write x minus 3 over x. Right? Then what I do is I put the g of x inside f of x. So instead of this, you're going to replace it with 1 over x squared, and also this. So it becomes 1 over x squared minus 3 over 1 over x squared. And now you got to simplify this. Now, this can also be written as 1 over x squared over 1 over x squared. Sorry, you can't see that properly. Minus 3 over 1 over x squared. Now 1 over x squared over 1 over x squared is nothing but 1. So that gives us 1. So basically this is equal to 1 minus 3 over 1 minus, basically I'll put this in a separate bracket kind of thing. 1 minus 3 divided by, 3 divided by 1 over x squared, right? Because 3 over 1 over x squared is nothing but 3 divided by 1 over x squared. So this can just simplify to 3 divided by 1 over x squared is nothing but 3x squared. So it just simplifies to 1 minus 3x squared. And so f of g of x is equal to 1 minus 3x squared. Okay, so we're on paper 4H from May 2008 for maths. So please comment if you have any questions, and also rate and subscribe to this channel. I know all 4H papers are really long, so sorry for the long video, but please stay tuned, and thanks a lot guys. See ya.